On my podcast today, and welcome back to Inspired Forward, everyone. This is Dan Trinidad. On Inspired Forward today, we've got Joshua Smith. He's a realtor in the Phoenix, Arizona area, as well as a serial entrepreneur. Josh is one of the top realtors in the world, along with running many other very successful companies. He's the top 1% of realtors worldwide, voted the 30th top realtor in America by the Wall Street Journal, over 5,000 homes sold and selling more than one home daily, host of the #1 downloaded real estate agent podcast, GSD Mode. He's coached and mentored thousands of realtors over the world. He's a husband, an amazing, straight up badass wife, father to 3 absolutely awesome kids. So, dude, you are well balanced. I love seeing that. I love seeing the fact that this successful entrepreneur, businessman is obviously married and a tremendous father. So welcome back to the show, Josh. I'm going to keep this thing going because, man, you have already helped, a lot of people in their thinking. So tell me a little bit to how you got into real estate.
Yeah. No, first off, I appreciate you having me. It's truly an honor to be here and really blessed and excited for this, man. So, and I think Troy copied that, my podcast, my content production manager straight from my website, the bio that you guys. I'm like, damn. Yeah, but I love it, man. So, so, I got into the business, and I'll kind of do just a quick, synopsis of what the journey's been and then what things look like today. Because, dude, it's been a wild ride. And when I say wild ride, like, that doesn't mean all good, right? I think, you got to be careful with this whole comparison world that we live in with social media. And, it's like, look, guys, like those that are watching and listening to this, I'm going to go out there and post when or when Dan read the bio, right? The Wall Street Journal, I got voted 30th in the country on the Wall Street Journal list. And that was my best year on the Wall Street Journal list. Last year, I was 42nd, second in the state of Arizona, 42nd. So
this is in the world, Josh.
Yeah. So then last year, I got voted top 100 most influential people in all real estate. So like those things, like those are the things that I'm going to be posting on social media. Posting a great trip with my wife and my kids. Yeah. Right. But man, half of my career, I mean, it's close to half has been ups and downs. I'm not posting the times where I lost everything, got myself into $100,000 of business credit card debt, had to freaking grind insane, unhealthy amounts of hours and do things to get out of that debt, to, taking 18 months and being back taxes to the IRS. And the reason that I want to share this is, just again, man, we live in this world especially with social media and not to turn this to a negative podcast by any means, but I heard recently since Facebook started, suicide rates are up like 17%, right? And that has nothing to do with Facebook, right? It's since Facebook started and there's all these other social media platforms, right? But we get in this world of comparison, man, and you got to run your own race, and you got to. I am blessed to know and be personal friends with most of the top real estate agents, and team leaders, not necessarily on the brokerage level, throughout the planet. I'm telling you, they all have insane hardships that they've had to overcome. Like we all go through our shit storms, right? So I got in the business 23 years old, came from the health club industry, and I wanted to go open my own facility. I realized very early on in that space that running and managing facilities wasn't going to do it for me to create what I wanted to create for myself and my future family. So everybody I knew at that point, this is 2005 here in Phoenix, Arizona, everybody I knew in real estate was crushing it. So I'm like, dude, I can do this, right? So jump into real estate and just hit the ground running. 40 home sales my first year. Started my team right for my first year, and things were going great. Then we all know what followed that, right? So went from one extreme to the other, which luckily, because I still at that point had no idea what I was really doing, right? Being in that kind of a marketplace and things operating so fast. When I say I don't know what I was doing, of course I knew how to write a contract and protect my clients, look out for their needs and take care of my clients. I'm just talking about it from not from a real estate agent in the business aspect. I'm talking about being an entrepreneur, right? It was just, it was crazy. It was pulling out a blank piece of paper and reinventing yourself every single day. And which was also a blessing, right? Because I didn't have bad habits. I wasn't set in my way. I was so used to having to adapt and shift and change, right? Each and every day. And to be honest with you, I stumbled into short sales before I got into REO with that transition. And it happened on accident. I had a listing that I was selling, and we were under contract, getting ready to go to, or the title company calls me, like we're, I don't know, a week or so out from closing, and the title company calls and says, hey, when do we want to schedule the sellers to come in? And have you discussed the certified funds that they need to bring in to pay out the second mortgage? And I said, what are you talking about, a second mortgage? They didn't tell me they had a second mortgage. And ended up being they took out a line of credit on the property they didn't know was attached to the home. Right. And they didn't have the money to pay it off. And that's right when the market it wasn't quite declining at a rapid rate, but it was the beginning of it. So that was late 2007 here. So we had to figure it out. Went to a mentor of mine, my first owner broker in the industry. And I was like, dude, he'd been in the business 38 years at that time or whatever. And I was like, what do I do here?
What do I do?
So, yeah.
How many people did you have on your team at this point?
Like a team of 10, built it up to before the market crashed. A team of 10, I had two full-time admin, and then myself, and then 7 other agents.
Yeah. And the whole thing, I mean, you gotta manage the mood of your team. I mean, it's not only you and you go home to your family. And so you've got a team of people that are relying on you, on your team. And when the economy starts plummeting, not a lot of people know how, to manage the mood. Laying off is easy, but managing, the mood of everybody still around you is the hard part.
Yeah. Here's the cool thing, Dan, and I know that you know this because you've been in the game. I just hit 14 years in the business. So you got about just over double what I got. So you've seen a lot more than me. And not only have you been in the game, it's one thing to get by, but it's also one of these things to go out there and excel and thrive, not just survive. And you've been one of these guys that's been able to go out there and excel and thrive in these down markets. So in order to do that, you gotta have the right perspective. I mean, 99% of all success in life is just looking at it and operating from the right lens and the right focus and the right mindset, right? So there is no such thing as a bad market. Get that, everybody's just got to get that out of your head. As real estate agents or mortgage lenders or whatever your listeners, it doesn't matter what industry that you're in. I have multiple different companies that are outside of the real estate space as well. Business is all the same, right? But with that, really so when we look at we'll talk about the real estate market because we're both in that niche, right? It's identifying. It's always my job, right, to identify, okay, whom is the market good for? And to be able to pivot, shift, and adapt to that. And as you start studying the history of these markets, the cool thing is history always repeats itself.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. So I'll kind of go through the journey that I went through with this, just so you guys can be prepared to know how to transition and pivot with this. Yeah. Right. So again, stumbled in short sales on accident. But then what was cool about it is a lot of my business at that point was expired. I hate the phones. I've got massive call reluctance. I hate chasing business, right? I want to attract business. It's always, I've always loved inbound lead gen, right? So I created a really effective expired letter campaign. I was listing about 20 expired listings a month. Well, after I luckily had success with that short sale and got my clients through it, a lot of my expired listings ended up being in the same situation. Right. So I'm listing all of these short sales and starting to have a lot of success with it within our team. And then, it's kind of funny because my mentor at the time was like, look, dude, I recommend that you start getting into REO, putting your apps in. And this is when it was early on when there's a lot of opportunities out there to get into REO. But I was pulling the numbers of every big REO agent in our marketplace. I'm like, look, man, they're holding way more inventory than me. They're taking all these headaches, right? They're a slave to these banks. Right. And I'm selling way more homes than him. It makes zero sense. Right. Well, he had the foresight that I didn't. About 6 months later, I regretted, not making that decision. And
I was thinking the same way that you were. So
yep. Yeah. And it's one of these things where man, I'm never the early adopter, right? Or the early adapter, man. Sometimes I'm late to the game, but I catch up very quickly. So about 6 months later, I realized that was a mistake. And I spent the next 6 months every single day for 4 hours a day, just prospecting asset managers, prospecting REO accounts. It took about 6 months to get my first REO account. And then from there, it just kind of started to snowball from there. and built up to the point where we had 35 different banks and asset management companies that we started repping from. And you know, you guys got to, depending on what location that you're at when you're listening to this, there were certain markets like Riverside, California, certain markets of California. Phoenix was.
And were you primarily in Phoenix with all these REOs?
Yeah, so we're Maricopa County, Phoenix Metro, man. So, and not just, you know, the city of Phoenix, but Phoenix is some cities that, you know, 100 miles wide, and we service the whole area. And just even outside of that, right? Because if they needed you to list a property, it was 2 hours away. That means like you couldn't say no. Especially, you know, my biggest account was Fannie Mae, and you got an account like Fannie Mae that's over $1 million a year of commission revenue coming in. You can't fuck that account up. Like you got to protect it. You got to, you know, when they say jump, you got to say how high, you know, right? And this goes back to a lot of what you talked about with managing culture, because when you're in that environment, it is a toxic environment. You become human punching bags. Your staff becomes human punching bags for a lot of the asset managers, but again, it's just about prepping your own mindset. Look, dude, they probably just got ripped by their boss, who just got ripped by their boss. That's taking, you know, and it just trickled down. And you just got.
There was a lot of stress going on at that time.
Yeah, man.
Were you married at this time?
You know, I was. So, I lucked out in life, dude. So I met my wife. We're high school sweethearts. So met her when we were 16. We were both 16 years old. Went to high school together. Met when we were 16. Started dating when we were 16, and been together ever since. So actually the only girlfriend I've ever had. You know, right? So, but yeah, we got married right when we were engaged when I got into the business. But about a year later, you know, we got married, and luckily,
she's been by your side the entire way. So she saw your immediate success, and then, you know, the challenges and stress that came along with 2008. Do you have any tips or suggestions on how people can deal with their spouse and their children when going through an enormous amount of, you know, stress in your career at work?
Yeah, man, you got to get clarity on what matters most to you. Look, I love business, and I want to grind, and I want to go out there and create as much expansion and success as I possibly can. Yeah, right. And take it to the biggest level I possibly can. But I'm also very clear on what I'm willing to sacrifice and what I'm not willing to sacrifice. But I'm not willing to sacrifice my health. I'm not willing to sacrifice my marriage. I'm not willing to sacrifice my relationship with my kids.
Beautiful.
Other than that, like, it's game on, right? Like I'm pretty introverted. You know, right. Most of my long time best friends that I grew up with work inside my companies now. So, you know, we get to work and play all at the same time.
Nice.
Yeah, man. So life is good, but you've got to be very, very intentional, right? Life is all about trade-offs, man.
While you were going through this time, I mean, you still got to the gym, you still had dates with your wife, you still had play dates with the kids. That never slowed down.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, dude. It's never like this perfectly balanced life. I mean, dude, and this was even last year, right? Not even in a down market, right? I had expanded. I opened up 7 companies in 2017, strategic partnerships. And, but I got to the point where I had 10 companies that I was an owner in and operating.
All around real estate?
No. I mean, it was, I've got 5 around real estate. The others were real estate or the health and fitness industry. I own a supplement company. We're doing a lot of consulting for optimal health physicians, just flipping gym equipment and doing a bunch of different stuff. Right. So, but it got to a point where I hit a max capacity, right? Every day was like, who do I break a commitment to today? My wife, my kids, or a business partner, right? I overstepped, man. I just overcommitted, and I thought I could pull it off. And it was a big learning lesson, right? So I had to exit from 5 different pick and choose which 5 to exit from. And going through the exit was hell.
Really?
Yeah, right. And luckily, all my partners, amazing people. We still are all tight to this day. But I had to set them up for them to succeed on their own. And
what happened for you to realize, like, I mean, because an ambitious person like yourself, you've got multiple companies, you're committed to your spouse and your children and your health. You know, what happened to all of a sudden make you realize that, you know, I need to make some changes and make changes quickly?
Dude, a lot of it was, I held on to the last moment. And when I say that, what I mean by that is all my companies started to dip. Yeah, right. So production started to come. So I was just seeing the matrix, man, seeing the KPIs, seeing the numbers of each business, and I realized at that point, man, I was the one that was toxic, right? And you got to, it was a very important lesson for me to learn, because it was the first time I truly hit a capacity and beyond a capacity. Right. Sometimes we got to learn that, right. Now here's the thing. When people hear that, oh, you got 10, 11 companies. I do the same thing in every company. These are strategic partnerships where, let's just say like Dan, you've got, not, you're good in the mortgage business, but let's just say you're like, have another, a love, a passion that like you're the rock star at, but you want somebody to run the back end operations, right? So I have a team of developers, designers, editors, videographers, and then my business love, my obsession is systems and processes. Right. So we would do the same thing in each business. We would literally operate the back end, which most people that, the name and the face of the business that have a great concept, a great idea, that's usually their weakness, right? So what I didn't account for is the different avatar in each business, right? How that throws a wrench in, but then also managing the personalities of each business partner, right? Because these are all, these high D, result-oriented entrepreneurs that are impatient, and it just got to the point where I overcommitted, and they all, like I said, we remained great friends. We were friends before all of this started, and they all got it and understood, and I made sure that they were set up. But that was 7 months of hell going through that. Because again, we built all the websites, and everything was on my internal servers. So we had to recreate everything to set them up for success. So with that being said, during that time, man, during that 7 months, probably every other night was an all-nighter for me. Right. So, and I'm going back to with the whole family thing. Now that was very unhealthy, but that's also why I had to get out of it. So I went through a period of my life where I guess you could call me a hypocrite, where I'm like, oh, I won't sacrifice my health. Right. I had to sacrifice my health for a little bit because I made a mistake, right. But there's other commitments I had to honor with it, and got myself out of that mess. And like sometimes we step off course. It's just how it goes. Right. So it doesn't mean when I say that, I'm very intentional about hitting the gym. And look, I just hit the gym before I came here, was in there for 40 minutes. I get to the office, I'll grind here for 12 hours, right? Go home, spend, an hour to maybe 2 hours with my wife and my kids, go to bed, repeat. So it's not, it's not like 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of leisure with family. And then, with that, but man, I find it's, you've got to just, again, this comes down to your focus and being very intentional. The reality is we all have enough time. There's 168 hours in a week. And I do this time study with people all the time, right? So I've got 168 hours in a week. Now I'm one that just doesn't require a lot of sleep, with taking care of my body the way that I do. And
how many hours do you sleep a night?
6 hours. Like I feel amazing on 6 hours. Right. But I'm also very intentional with my sleep. I work with several optimal health physicians as a client, all preventative care. And I work very, very hard, just like we're always checking our businesses, like you're running P&Ls in your businesses, right? I get my blood work done every 90 days. We assess, we analyze. So I'm very intentional with this stuff. But okay, I'm going to sleep 6 hours a night. That's 42 hours a week. I'm going to work 80 hours a week. I'm going to work out 5 hours a week, total gym time. So when I subtract that out, that means I have 41 hours left over a week, right? Like I spend more time with my wife and my kids than anybody I know when it comes to vacations, weekends, off time. Right. But man, it's just getting very, very clear. Like as an example, my wife and I, when we started having kids, we were just like, hey, no outside hobbies, outside of family hobbies. Like, look, dude, I'm not going to go swing some silly metal stick at a white ball down a grassy area and sacrifice that time away from my kids. Now, if you love playing golf, like that's not a jab at you. I go do what you love doing.
I hear you.
Now, if my kids want to go play golf, okay, I'd probably take up the game, right? But we're just very intentional with our time. And if it's not a hell yes with accomplishing what we want in business and as well as family, then it's an absolute no. But you got to get clear on what you want. And I'm a big believer. A lot of people set all these business goals, but they don't have a deeper meaning behind those goals, right? So I start with lifestyle, man. It's like what would be the perfect day? Like what time would I wake up? What's the first thing I would do? What's the second thing I would do? How would I feel?
So tell me about that. What time do you wake up?
So I wake up at 4 a.m.
Okay, that's when I wake up as well. So what is your routine?
So I get up at 4 a.m. Now this This is, I don't want to say is not my perfect schedule, because it's my perfect schedule for right now as my kids are young. So it just works, right? Like I like to get all my personal stuff done early in the morning, my workout, all of that stuff done before I jump into work. But with my routine right now, because my kids are all young, you know, right? I've got 10, 9, and 6 as far as their ages, and they're all in school. So I've had to adjust a few things because of that, right? Sure. So I get up at 4 a.m., do 20 minutes of cardio, then I meditate, go through some visualization exercises, review my goals, yearly goals, as well as my daily goals that I have for the day, the commitments that I have, my to-do task, all of that. Then I jump into, honestly, it's the stuff I hate the most. Yeah, right? There's about 90 minutes of tasks that I just don't enjoy doing, right? So it's the whole Brian Tracy eat the frog first. So this is things like setting up my own Facebook ad campaigns, and you know, because I've got a lot of online digital marketing. I'm big in that space, right? So, and I apologize, you guys. I don't know if this is gonna be on video or if it's just audio. My AC went out in my office building, and it's gonna take them 5 days to rebuild the unit for whatever.
And you're in Phoenix, Arizona. What is that? 120
Phoenix,
outside?
Arizona, 100, yeah, like 110 out. You know, right? So it's like 90 degrees in my office. I'm sweating bullets in here. So
I'm a little cold in mine.
So I'll knock that stuff out early in the morning. But then by the time my kids are up they're up at 6:30, 6:37. I'm done by 7 a.m. So at that point, I hate checking emails, responding to messages. So I just knock all that out first thing in the morning. Check all my numbers, all my trackers for the previous day, make sure we're on track. The path is in the math, right? I'm obsessed with data. So then by 7 a.m., eating breakfast with my kids, I'm getting ready to go to the gym, getting all that prep, drop the kids off at school. And my wife and I, we go to the gym together and work out each together. And that was like, one of these things where she'd work out, I'd work out. And I was like, look, we both work out. Why don't we just be workout partners? And that's kind of an hour a day of dating, right? With that time. So my gym's right across the street from the office. So I shot the gym, then I'm right here. And then I'm here every day in the office then till 5:30 at 5. So I'll grind during the day in the office. And then at 5 p.m. I have a hard stop every day, which I spend 30 minutes of my daily planning and reflection, right? So I start with my reflection. Okay, hey, man, I just operated for this 24-hour period. How did I do, right? Here were the commitments I needed to hit to move the needle forward. How was my actual performance? Was there anything that got in the way that isn't in alignment with the goals I want to go out there and create? Is there anything that got in the way from prohibiting me from accomplishing my goals? Is there anything I can learn from with this? So trying to always eliminate, delegate, and learn from that. Not get from the day, or get through it, but get from it. So I would start with reflection.
When 5 p.m. comes, does an alarm go off, or do you just know that it's time to start reflecting?
Yeah, no, I don't have an alarm that's set. It's just that time. Like all my meetings are done by that. Like everything's just intentional with that. I never have a meeting before 10 a.m. and I never have one after 4 p.m. So it's always done by 5. So then though, here's the cool part. Then after I've reflected and I've grown, I now plan out the next perfect day, right? So what I love about that is then when I do get home, because that puts me getting home by about 5:45 in the evening. Now, man, I know from the second I wake up tomorrow to the second my eyes close, what needs to happen to be a win, right? So that allows me to, my mentor, I don't know if you have heard of Darren Hardy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So now retired publisher of Success Magazine, author Compound Effect, but he talks about it as bookending your days.
Right.
And one of the most is, if I were to talk about like one tactical thing that I've done each and every day throughout my entrepreneurial career that's had the biggest overall impact, it's that one thing, that daily plan and reflection, right? But then that now allows me to go home and be fully present. Like I've just kind of, I've just bookmarked the business. Now I'm able to go home, be intentional with my wife and my kids.
What do you do with your cell phone when you get home?
I don't, believe it or not, man. So I don't have a smartphone. I'm like the only human being on the planet that doesn't have a smartphone. Here's my phone. It's an old school flip phone. Yeah. Right. So I actually didn't want to have a phone altogether, but my wife wasn't comfortable with that. Just emergencies with her, the kids, whatever. Someone wants a phone. So I have like 6 people that have that number, and nobody else, like everybody else knows how to get a hold of me. They can get a hold of me in email. but I'm very, very intentional with my day. Right. So checking emails at this time, checking my Facebook messages at this time. I don't even check text messages because you guys remember the old school flip phones, right? You got to hit the button 3 times to type out the text. So I don't even text, right? But everybody that needs to get a hold of me knows how to get a hold of me. Now, that's not something I would have done.
You don't text. You don't text.
No. Dude, look, number one, man, smartphones are making us dumb as shit. They're not a smartphone. It should be called a dumb phone, right? If you look at the lack of productivity, the focused distraction, right? As well as, man, like people today can't even be by themselves with their own thoughts for 5 minutes. Yeah, right. They're not the imagination of the human being is just dissipating, right? You just got a bunch of people just sleepwalking and zombies, and we've got this perceived intelligence that is just a prestige, man. It doesn't exist. If you look at a 5th grade math book in 1890, it would be college level math today. Yeah, right. I mean, it's not the world that I want to operate in. So little things too, like on my all my devices, man, I install Facebook Newsfeed Eradicator, so I don't see the newsfeed. It just eliminates my newsfeed. Now I make millions a year through my businesses through Facebook marketing, so I need to be able to access my Facebook Business Manager. I also do some mentorship groups for real estate agents. When I put several thousand agents through my programs every single year, where we have private groups that I go in and do some training and support them through. So like I need to access groups, and I can still of course post on my own pages. I've got, just on Facebook alone between business and personal, right, 50,000 followers or whatever. So I'm still able to be active. I just don't get caught up in other people's bullshit. Like, look, I don't care what somebody's opinion is on President Trump. It's not going to impact my world in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I
agree.
But I just eliminate the distractions, right? So then back to the question of, well, because so many people are striving for this balance. And man, I can't tell you, probably at least 5 to 6 times a week. It's almost on a daily basis. I have somebody reaching out to me that's struggling with the expansion of their business, but then keeping their relationship healthy at the same time, right? But look, they're just not intentional, man. They're focusing on the wrong things. They're allowing themselves to be interrupted, disrupted. Look, if you can't get everything done in 80 hours a week, right?
There's other issues. So do you have, is your wife kind of on the same program? Does she have a flip phone?
Mm-mm. We're totally opposites, man. But that's also, that's the law of the universe, right? Two magnets that are the same charge, right? The same, right? They repel. So
does that cause any issues for you?
Until I got until I did the right work. And what I mean by that is, as entrepreneurs, man, we're always having to level up. So you got to go out there, and then you got to do a lot of leveling up inside your business. When I say leveling up, I'm talking self-development, a lot of work, right? So, I mean, look at Warren Buffett, 6 hours a day in self-development, right? The greats go out there and work on themselves, right? So, and all my self-development for so many years was on business, but then I didn't know how to handle the personal stuff. So about 3 years ago, and before that I was doing the work, but about 3 years ago, I started working with a peak performance coach who is, AKA a psychologist, right? She's a psychology major, but then she just she's just got this gift where she just speaks the language of the entrepreneur, right? She's I call her the CEO whisperer. Yeah. Right. That man, it was a game changer for me, right? To be able to see it out of the right lens, the right perspective, with that. So yeah, for sure it created tension. Cause here's the thing is, so my wife and I, total opposites, right? So I'm very driven. I just can't stop, right? Like to me, I really don't give a shit about money. None of this has to do about money, right? It has to do with about my own personal expansion and doing everything I can to operate at my
totally understand that.
Right. So, but my wife, she's not driven, right? She doesn't have goals. She doesn't, right. She thinks she can't grasp my drive. Right. When can it be enough? Why can't you be satisfied? Right. That used to create a lot of a lot of tension, right. But then as you get doing the work, right, and you learn how to handle those situations. It's like, look, dude, we don't need to have the same goals, right? And we shouldn't. We're two different individuals, that have just chosen to spend our life together and go out there and not necessarily create a life together, to experience a life together.
Right.
I've got my goals and visions. She's got hers, right? Whatever that looks like for her. I mean, when I say she has them goals, business goals, right? She's
I totally get it.
The kid, very family oriented but it also helps me and grounds me. Yeah. Right. I mean, there's times that she's got to put me in check, because without her, right, I probably would go to a lot of extremes where I'd be much more absent in my kids' lives, right? It's a great balance. But it's like, look, we don't have to even understand each other's goals. We don't have to have the same goals. We don't have to even understand how the other person has those goals, but we must support each other's goals, right? Which means, though, I got to support her goals first, right, before I can get that support back. And having that deep level understanding, right? Because look, dude, at the end of the day, it's us entrepreneurs that are the freaks, right? Entrepreneurs play this little victim card of oh, nobody gets me. I'm like, yeah, you're a freaking freak, dude. Right? If you think about what we do,
that's true.
There's only 1% of the human population. I know there's more than that as entrepreneurs, but I mean, as far as an entrepreneur that somewhat makes it okay in business and actually operates a business and just doesn't just have a job and claiming a business on their taxes, it's less than 1% of the population, right? So we are trying to get everybody, the other 99%, to understand us. Well, we're the ones that have to do the work. Right.
Well, I do think, though, that this cell phone, these gadgets, are going to end up being a much bigger problem than we even know about yet. And there really is. I'm struggling for, some solutions. I can put down my cell phone the minute I walk in the door, no problem. My wife is very ambitious as well, and she's on her cell phone, on social media, talking to real estate agents, talking to customers, taking loan applications, checking social media all day, all night long. And, I've had to really work and learn how to manage, similar to what you said, that, her goals are her goals. I need to support them, but it's also learning how to deal with, okay, how do you work on the elimination of a potential addiction and focus on the relationship. And, so that's really why I asked that question.
Yeah. And look, guys, I didn't eliminate my smartphone until I created a true business, which means I'm 100% out of production. I'm out of operations. I'm out of production. I haven't sold a house in almost 5 years now. Right, between all my companies, I have over 100 employees and the people that work directly for me. I have all phone calls are getting answered. This stuff is delegated out. Clients are getting taken care of. Right. We have brilliant customer service, amazing customer service reps. Right. So you got to also be responsible with this stuff. Right. I mean, there was a time where
Joshua, you got it dialed in, man. You're looking at your companies. You're looking over the top of them and making sure they're operating. And so you could have a life. I mean,
yeah, man. And that's when business gets fun, right? I didn't fall in love with real estate until I got to play in my lane, right? I mean, it gets to the point where there's new challenges. So it's exciting, fun, going on listing presentations was fun for some time. And then you get to a point where it's okay, I don't enjoy sitting across from a homeowner arguing about how they believe their home is worth $25,000 more than every comp on God's green earth shows.
Do you have real estate agents working for you now, though?
Yeah, we've got, what do we have right now? We've got, I think, I don't have it right in front of me, but I think 84 is here in the Valley. And actually getting ready to now do a partnership with my actual brokerage. So to this point, I've been a real estate agent with the team, operating under the umbrella of a brokerage, right? I haven't been my own brokerage where now I'm doing a JV partnership. So it's a privately held company. So it'd be the equivalent like me going and buying my own franchise through them. Where now we can really start to expand it with other options that we have. And so I've got a pretty ambitious goal of 3,000 agents by July 1st of 2021. So 2 years from pretty much this interview.
So Josh, I know we're running out of time, but one of the things that I really want to understand is I got the bookends very clearly, and I know I could see your work ethic. What I've struggled with is in the middle. So how do you coordinate your day so that you're um, looking at your real estate company and the digital media company and what other companies you have in the healthcare industry? How do you manage all that? Do you take 2 or 3 hours for one company, 2 or 3 hours for the next, or do you put marketing all in one bucket and focus on marketing in all the companies? And then you're coaching clients, you're probably doing webinars, those sorts of things. How does that all work?
Yeah. So, and I love that question. It's such a great question. So I didn't start my second company until I was in the real estate business for 8 years. Yeah. Right. So, and by the time I started my second company, it took me 8 years. And a lot of it was that middle market crash of my career that disrupted our whole entire team model. Right. Because traditional team model, you're less admin, a lot of agents, and that model, because we were REO, short sales, hedge funds for, almost 4 straight years, is a lot of admin and a few agents, right? So it's a totally opposite model. And then we had to rebuild that. So it took me 8 years to fully exit from production and operations to the point where I had an amazing team that was able to maintain, sustain, and also grow business. Right? They were recruiting, they were bringing people in. So we built up the systems, processes, and put the people in place to allow that to happen. So then from there, I was able to give my focus on the next venture. Yeah, right. So and this is where I went wrong with taking on all the other companies. And as I mentioned when we first started here, that I had to exit from those 5 companies. I went against kind of my own, the thing that's worked so well for me in the past. Right? I guess I got cocky, my ego got the best of me, thinking that I could be Superman. Right? But it's like, look, man, I go out there and I'll jump into something. Be involved as long as I need to develop the systems and processes, and get revenue to the point where I can start hiring A player talent. As an entrepreneur, you always, your highest level role is really always firing yourself, right? Like you should be firing yourself through every position, and you got to be strategic with what those positions are. And your highest money making activities last, obviously. But I don't go on to the next until I've got that team in place. So, and then from there, it's okay. What's the one thing that all this spills out to all these other companies? Yeah. Right. So, a lot of, several of the companies that I talked about were like, I own a title company, right? Well, dude, that is just an ancillary. We're already doing a ton of real estate deals, 50 plus deals every single month. We're already doing a lot of escrow and title policy, right? So it just makes sense to own my own title company, which I don't do anything there other than send a business, and I get 50% of the net proceeds per title policy, right? Mm-hmm. I own a software company out of Champaign, Illinois, which we have just over 2,000 users through North America here. And same thing, man, I've got a great team of developers where essentially, even though I'm a majority owner of that company and I'm 2,000 miles away from it, I operate as a consultant, essentially just telling them what to build by me operating my real estate team, right, and running my real estate team. So it's identifying like, what is the one thing? So for me, that is my 90-day mastery bootcamp, right? So, and here's the cool part about it, like in my 90-day mastery bootcamp, and this is where you've got to be very synergistic as you want to bring on other revenue sources, right? So in my real estate agent mentorship program, which is my 90-day mastery bootcamp, I'm just teaching my playbook in my real estate business. Like everything that we're doing here in real estate business, I teach there, right? But then as people funnel into that program, they need our software company is front-end website and back-end CRMs for real estate agents, right? So they all need that. Now my coaching program isn't predicated on them having it, but 42% of them end up buying the software. So I've been able to now grow to 2,000 users on that system without having to spend one marketing dollar, right? Because this thing builds off this thing, right? So,
right.
Dude, 90% of my time, man, is spent between creating content like this. You on the flip side, though, usually I'm the host, right, at gsdmode.com, and delivering content and to my coaching clients. And then that creates everything else. Like right now, I've got another software company I'm getting ready to become a full partner in, which is an AR app for essentially virtual home staging, right? But again, all of these things, you're just connecting the dots.
They're all connected, yeah.
I mean, business is pretty simplistic, right? Track your numbers, get your tracking systems in place. Then from there, you identify world-class processes. The process is a step-by-step action that gets the result that you desire. You build great systems around those processes to ensure that things don't get missed and that you can inspect what you expect, right? And then once you have those things that are dialed in, AKA you have a proof of concept, as revenues comes in, you start plugging in the right people, right? And this is something that I've always done a good job at. Luckily I grew up pretty damn poor, right? Food stamps and grew up with nuts. So I'm just one of these guys that I just don't really care about money. I don't care about fancy houses and cars, and I operate at 5% of my income for our personal expenses. So with that being said, though, it allows me to, I don't drain my companies, right? So my third year in the business, I did 1.3 million in GCI, netted $780,000. At that point, I lived in a 1,300 square foot, 2-bedroom, 2-bath house that I bought for $140,000. Yeah, right. Today, right now, I live in a house that I bought for $225,000 at bottom of the market. Maybe today it's close to $500,000. Most people in my income bracket are living in $3, $4, $5 million homes. Yeah, right. But it allows me, I don't drain my company, so I can invest much more rapidly in new projects, in hiring talent. Yeah, right. Especially, I don't know how it is in the mortgage business, but in real estate, man, all these agents get so caught up in profit margin. I'm like, look, guys, if you're doing this, you pay yourself you live frugal, right? Pay yourself as little as possible, reinvest everything back in your business and growth and expansion, and do it smart, right? So your margin should suck on paper. Yeah, right. But
I get it. Josh, man, you are inspiring. You've inspired the heck out of me. I'm definitely going to be in touch because I want to learn more from you.
Yeah, 100%, man.
How do people get a hold of you?
There's two best ways. So gsdmode.com, www.gsdmode.com, which is my podcast. Very similar to this with real estate professionals, entrepreneurs, other outside of real estate entrepreneurs as well, and even some health and fitness stuff in there, which is pretty cool. Or just go to YouTube. If you just type in Joshua Smith, you'll see I'm in YouTube. Those are the best two ways. And it's all free content, no opt-ins, just great content out there to help give back to an industry that's changed every aspect of my life.
Man, I love it. I love it. Josh, it's been a pleasure getting to know you a bit, and I look forward to getting to know you more. Thank you for your time today.
100%. Massive honor. Thank you, guys.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.